social media roots you to your past. And I want to talk about why that's a bad thing. So let's get into it. Let's take, for example, that, let's just say, for starters, that you're a construction worker. Okay? And that's what you do. You're a construction worker. You get up, you go out, you build houses, you fix out, whatever it is. You work on houses. That's who you are. And so you end up becoming friends with people involved in that business naturally. I mean, that is sort of like, kind of like how life goes, right? So you end up seeing, or you end up meeting, maybe you'll become friends with people that are plumbers, and maybe you'll become friends with people that are contractors. And over time, you'll start, aligning and getting involved with like carpenters and various people. Maybe people, I don't know, down at the Home Depot or whatever. You end up kind of surrounded by these people. And they all know you and they like you because there's a relatability there. Say, oh, that guy, he's a good dude. He does construction, this, that, and the third. And that, they like that. But the problem is, that let's say 6 years later, you're no longer a construction worker. You wake up, you have this epiphany, and you realize, what the hell am I doing? I don't want to do construction. I'm not passionate about it. I don't like it. And that's it. I want to do something else. So you decide that your new thing that you want to do is art. You want to draw and you want to paint. And that's what you want to do. Well, the way things used to be is that in life you can make changes to who you are and to the way you think and to what you're about. You can make changes. And that's supposed to be a good thing. And then what happens is that you could go and you could say, you know what? I don't really want to talk to Bob anymore or John anymore. All we talk about is the construction stuff, and that's not really my life anymore. So I want to get around people that are about art. I'm going to go and hang out at art galleries. I'm going to meet people that control art galleries. I'm going to meet other fellow painters. I'm going to get involved in the art scene, people who appreciate art. I'm going to become an artist, and I'm going to get around these people. Let's just say hypothetically, that's what you decide to do. Well, and the way things used to be, you could do that. You could do that. And it was not a problem. You could decide right then and there that that's what you wanted to do. And you could make new friends. And over time, you could connect with new people and you could become someone else. You could change who you are. Venture down another path, down another career path. And within a couple of years, you'll have all new friends. Here's the problem with social media. Social media has algorithms that are implemented, and we're talking about Facebook and Instagram, okay? I'm not sitting here trying to, let's be real. We're talking about Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and these apps that everyone's on, okay? They have algorithms that now, if you have been, they can calculate with a metric of some kind. They can calculate, AI can calculate what things you talked about on social media that did well. So let me give you an example. We'll go with the construction worker example. If during that 6 years you were doing construction and you had a lot of friends that knew you around that and so on and so forth, and you made posts that were construction involved, you would have no doubt gotten a lot of likes. That was the industry you were in. That's what you did. People would have liked it. They would have commented. They would have engaged. And that would have boosted statistically how good that post did in the algorithm that they now have. So when they start to calculate over time all the things that you've posted all throughout the time that you've ever been posting things on social media, if you brought up football and you said, hey man, here's what I think about, the New England Patriots. I think that their defense, could be better. And let's say the vast majority of people who are on your social media don't really care about your opinion about football. They like you, maybe, and a lot of which they like you because you did construction, but they don't care about your level of knowledge of football. You're not the head coach of a football team. You've never coached football. And probably most cases, you've never even played football. In some cases, if you did, it was at an amateur or junior or high school level. So no one really cares about your opinion about football. So no one ends up liking your status about football. So now the algorithm that's in Facebook, that's in Instagram, the algorithm is now trained so that when you go to make a post about anything other than construction, to bury it. The algorithm says the audience doesn't like it when he talks about X, Y, and Z. They like it when he talks about A, B, and C. And so therefore, we will take when he talks about A, B, and C, and we will push that to the people that he's friends with, because we know that's what they like. But anytime he talks about sports or politics or, fucking anything else, we're going to suppress that because we have data that shows us that his followers don't like that. And so now you wind up in a situation where it's like, okay, what happened to the idea of changing who you are? So if 6 years later, you start unfriending all these people that knew you as a construction worker, and then after that, you start friending people who are in art, because now you want to be an artist, and then you go and you start trying to post things about art, guess what the algorithm's going to do? It's not going to let anybody see it. It's not going to let anybody see it. People used to be able to move on. Not just in a career path, but be able to move on even if you didn't like the town you grew up in. You used to be able to say, you know what? I don't like it here. I'm going to move somewhere else. I'm going to start all over. Can't do that anymore. Not with social media. Because social media makes it so that everyone you knew is all there following you. And people say, well, yeah, but you could go and you could unfriend everybody. Yeah, but not really. Because when you get to that new town, especially this late in the game, if you start trying to add other people, a lot of times they're going to look at your profile, and if they see that you haven't had it a while, or it's a new one, or maybe you deleted a bunch of friends, and you have a low friend count. A lot of times with the spam and the fake Nigerian accounts and all that stuff, they're just going to assume that your account's not real or it's BS, and they're not going to accept your friend request. They're not even going to get involved in it. And so this results in people never being able to break free from their past. And let's be real, everybody in life has made mistakes. Everybody has done things they're not proud of, they want to move on from, they want to, social media doesn't let you. Social media doesn't let you do that. And a lot of the times, and I guess I'll end talking about this with this, is that when people meet you, they meet you at the level of which who you are right then. They develop a perspective of who you are based on who you are at the time they meet you. It's human nature. It's who we all are. No one's going to meet you and be like, oh, wow, I see you for who you used to be. They didn't know you then. And most certainly no one's ever going to come and meet you and then say, I see you for who you can be. No one does that either. People develop their perspective on you based on who you are at the time they meet you. The problem is when you grow and you have growth, you get smarter, you become more educated, you get more money, you become successful in business, you become a little more whatever, traveled, you've been around, whatever it is. They can't see you for who you now are because they just have to keep seeing you as the person that you were when they met you. And the reason why that is because if they have to be honest to themselves about your growth and all this change that you've made for yourself, then they too have to be honest about their lack of growth and how little they have changed. Because if both of you were in the same place at the same time once, and you wound up here and they're still here, then they have to look at that. And they don't want to. They don't want to. And so because of that, social media becomes a huge problem because you end up with a bunch of people who all have a perception of you based on the person you were when they met you, which in many cases is many years ago, who are incapable of admitting or recognizing your growth. And I think that the biggest issue that a lot of people get caught up in with social media is that you end up having this sort of misguided thought process, which is that, oh, I can become successful if everyone on my social media likes what I'm doing. But the truth of the matter is that everybody on your social media is never going to like or support what you do in many cases. Because they all, well, unless, of course, like the construction worker I was just talking about, if you're surrounded by people who all met you while you were this one thing, and all you do is talk about that one thing, you'll get engagement. People will like you. And if you evolve, if you change in any way, if you grow in any way and you talk about anything else, you're up against not only an algorithm that is designed to oppress those posts, or suppress, I should say, suppress those posts so that nobody sees them, but you're also up against people that refuse to recognize your growth. And that's why social media roots you to your past. Anyway, My name is Tom Kane. This is the Executives Playbook. And this is yet another episode. I know it's been a long time since I've been live. I've been working on my studio, and as you can see, things are different. It's still not done. There's still some work that needs to be done, some lighting stuff that still needs to be done. It's whatever, but I'm back. I'm back and live and direct. So if you haven't, if you haven't followed or subscribed or whatever, click all the buttons, do all the stuff. You know what to do. You've heard it a million times. But I will be here. And for those of you who watch, I appreciate it. I'm kind of battling an algorithmic issue with YouTube because I was a musician. So my YouTube channel thinks that I'm a musician and I'm an artist. And it keeps taking videos like mine and playing them for the wrong audience. And that's really hurting me because even though I'm getting followers, a lot of people are just not seeing the content and so on and so forth. So I'm kind of up against that right now, and I might possibly create a whole new channel. I may very well do that. But anyways, I appreciate everybody who's watching, and have a good night.